Loam, for lack of a better title. That's exactly what he's playing. This is a deck that Jerry Thompson did write about a little while ago. And Kenny Fain has his own version. We'll also be doing a deck tech with him in the sideboard later. He is sitting at 2-0, and with any luck, he'll be able to win another match here and make his way over to top 8. But Dustin Biggers with Rug Delver, oh, that boring Rug Delver.
He's got one spicy one. He's got 3 Getaxian Probe in the main. We've seen that gain a little traction.
Yep.
It really plays every cantrip it possibly can. 4 Brainstorm, 4 Ponder. And if that's not enough, we're going to have 3 Getaxian Probe too. But besides that, pretty standard Stifle, 4 of Wasteland. A lot of times Delver goes through this mix here. Sometimes it plays 0 Stifle. For months it did. And now Stifle's back in the hotness. Everyone wants to play 4 Stifle.
It's back and better than ever. Delver's still good, though, and that's exactly what Biggers is going to start off with after sacrificing a Flooded Strand. So he is at 19. Kenny Fain, he's going to play a beautiful Polluted Delta. There's a Mox Diamond. Slowy. Is that going to resolve? The answer is yes. Discard another Polluted Delta. And now here is a Cabal Therapy. I think this man likes his legacy because he's got some nice-looking cards.
Yeah, he told me, he walked by the booth and mentioned that his whole deck minus a few cards is decked out. So
all right,
we're going to see some bling here on the mat.
Doesn't look like that. Does not look like the therapy hit. Named Lightning Bolt. So you see a Force Will, you see a Brainstorm, double Wasteland, and a mystery card that's a little bit off to the side there. Can't really make that out. Might be a Retirement Wife, not sure. But Polluted Delta's going to get cracked. Probably going to go searching for a basic. And now here's another Cabal Therapy. So I like what I see.
Yeah, Therapy's much better on the second shot there.
And it's going to name Brainstorm.
And he gets a non-basic. I guess he doesn't have basic Swamp.
A little deck list check. You're not going to find basic lands in this bad boy.
No, yeah, most Loam decks like to go no basic. I mean, they can pretty much recur a lot of their lands back using Mox Diamond to provide mana, and they only need one additional one to kind of go Loam for land there. So, from the legacy side or standpoint here, Rug Delver is one of those decks that's just pretty even against everything. You know, it will destroy you for being a greedy man. You know, Stifle, Wasteland you out of the game, but doesn't really have a lot of end game. It wants just to mana deny you, so you're unable to cast any of your spells there.
Yeah, what this to me is, it's really just kind of like a Ponza deck in disguise, because it has Brainstorm, it's got Force Wall, all that stuff, but in reality, you know, it just feels like a Ponza deck to me. It just, you know, it wants to kill lands and do that sort of thing. It's here's a Deathrite Shaman after playing a beautiful Misty Rainforest for Fain.
Yep, if it costs 1 or 0 and blows up land, it'll be in this deck, definitely.
Ponder, I'm going to turn that Delver into an Insectile Aberration, excuse me. So Ponder will go to the grip. There's a 3/2 flyer on the board, and he's going to lead off his turn is Biggers with a Ponder. So, top 3 cards, what we're going to look at here.
See Force of Will, Probe, and we see the 1 of Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice is a pretty sweet card. It hasn't really seen a lot of play in Legacy. Like most of these older extended cards back in the day, that's all their, saw their kind of time in the sun there in Standard. Electrolyze, another card that you see random 1-ofs here and there, but not a big card because, when you start paying 3 mana, it better be real good in Legacy.
Getaxian Probe. Looks like the card that is kept with a Ponder. Delver going to come across here, and I'm sure if you're Fain, you're probably wondering exactly what's going on here. What's my opponent doing? You see Fain draws a Force of Will, and of course Biggers kept his Probe instead of using it because he wants to be able to Force of Will something. Yeah,
Force of Will is good against this deck. I mean, there are some real problem cards. You got to keep Young Pyromancer off the board, especially because it can just pretty much go. No, we don't like to use the word infinite around here, but it can go real deep here.
So
with
we're
some
about
tokens.
to.
Yeah, almost infinite, if that's the thing.
So sacrifice that Mr. Rainforest. Go get himself a Tropical Island. 2 mana going to be put to the pool. Here is a Life from the Loam.
And this is kind of why the Stifle Wasteland strategy against this deck is kind of weak. Because you're, when you're wastelanding, you're wasting your own land as well, and he could just Loam and get all of his lands back in one fell swoop. So it's pretty much like he did nothing. And the Force of Will here, I don't know if I like it or not, because he's just going to do it next turn. It's not like he's at 8 or 7 or 5. He's at 14, so it's not like that Delver's going to anytime soon kill him. And Kinny knows, just like Dustin knows, his own hand. There's no bolts in his hand. He doesn't have even another creature to follow with right now, so it's not like the pressure's going to get him.
Dark Depths is going to come into play. And that is not a misprint. That is a Dark Depths. And what that's going to work side by side with is a Singleton Thespian Stage.
Yeah.
So the old combo that we haven't seen a ton of in Legacy. I've seen it in decks that have Knight of the Reliquary. But nice to see it here.
Yeah, so I've seen it in the lands deck. A lot of times you'll see the lands deck. So you have, let's say, for example, you're playing 43 land. Why not play a bunch of the lands and just kill them instantly? So they're going to see that in the 43 land deck. A big problem with a deck like that is when you're playing that and you play your little cute little lands that do things, your Creeping Tar Pits and your, Tabernacles and whatnot, and then you play against a combo deck, you just want to die.
Yeah, because, you will die.
You will die, yeah. You have no real interaction.
Fire and Ice here to take it down. the old Deathrite Shaman, and Delver's just going to keep doing what Delver does. It would just come across in the sky, Force of Will, the card drawn here for Fain. He passes the turn back. So what he needs right now, first of all, he needs a land, because Dark Depths doesn't tap for mana, and then he needs to, cobble together a Punishing Fire, which he has 3 copies of, and hopefully a Grove for the Burn Willows also has 3 copies of that. There's an there's a Volcanic Island, so that is a start.
And he says go. And here's a big problem here, right? So Dustin does Force of Will that Life from the Loam and gets rewarded because Kenny doesn't have a second land. And I think that might do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure he has a way out of this. This is a Gataxian Probe, and he's going to concede the game. See a Daze, and that is going to do it. So Dustin Biggers does win game number 1 with Rug Delver, Kenny Fain playing Pyro Loam. We're going to start with Fain's sideboard first, as his is the more innovative deck, number 1. And number 2 is that he's going to be on the play here. So 2 copies of Storm, 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Surgical Extraction, and a whole lot of singletons. Abrupt Decay, Ancient Grudge, Diabolic Edict, Engineered Plague, Ensnaring Bridge, Liliana the Veil, Life from the Loam, Maelstrom Pulse, and Swan Song. So a lot of cards I can see him boarding in here. Diabolic Edict I like. I mean, this is a 12 creature deck. You're probably going to get the creature that you want to be able to kill. Abrupt Decay is going to take care of Tarmogoyf and Delver of Secrets. Not going to hit Nimble Mongoose, of course. Spell Pierce could potentially come in. Of course, it is a deck that is short on mana, so I can see that coming in here. Liliana the Veil also going to take care of those creatures, assuming that Fain can get to the necessary mana and have the necessary colors, because his deck is very color intensive. I don't think he's going to need additional life from them. I guess he only has 1 in his main deck, so he could have the other one on the sideboard come in and try to Wasteland lock his opponent. And other than that, I mean, Maelstrom Pulse is okay, but it's an expensive way to take care of Tarmogoyf and crew, where I'd rather have Liliana the Veil as a 3-mana answer, since it's a sacrifice effect that can take care of a Shroud creature.
Okay, yeah, I agree. On the other side, Dustin has the pretty standard Rug Delver sideboard, except he's, being a real mean guy here, putting Sulfur Elemental back in. And only, I don't know why people do that. It's just kind of like splash hate for my poor lingering souls. And I don't appreciate it too much, but I'm sure it's in there more for like Mother of Runes and things like that, because Rug Delver does have a real hard time with a turn 1 Mother of Runes backed up with something else, creature that it cannot kill. And you'll see that in the Death and Taxes deck. You'll see that if anyone's still playing Maverick, the 4 or 5 people in the world still playing that deck. So you still, you still have some people that, and this is the thing about Legacy too, looking at this board and looking at your, deck choices. Legacy is expensive. Thousands of dollars to build a deck, and if you spend $2-3 grand on a deck, not all of us are just money bags. You're like, it's not good anymore. I'm gonna go buy Rug Delver now. It's not something that people can just drop their wallet on. Besides that, is Grafdigger's Cage, kind of a staple in the Rug Delver deck. Ancient Grudge, Submerge, pretty much nothing out of the ordinary except for 2 copies of Chill. And I've never been a big Chill fan. I think like on the draw, it's pretty weak against the red decks if anyone's still playing this, or Goblins, or you just play an Aether Vial and get around it. So, it might be good against maybe the mono red Blood Moon style decks with Painter Servant in there, I'm not sure. But he's got also Rough and Tumble, another card that's seen pretty much all over the place in these Rug decks. So, sideboard aside, if you will, Rug Delver needs to do one thing again. You saw what he did that game to win, and that's deny mana sources, so we'll see if he can do that again this game.
All right, Fain going to be on the play. Bigger's going to be on the draw. Good old Rug Delver sitting at 2-0. There'll probably be 1 or 2 of those in the top 8. Just like every other Legacy Open. Just the most consistent deck in the format. I'm not convinced it's the most powerful deck, but it does its thing. It does its thing well. And, as long as you play the deck pretty well, like a player like Jacob Wilson does, you're going to win a lot.
Yep, and it's just, it reminds you of there's, the 3 decks. You have Stoneblade, you have this deck, and then you have Bug decks. And those are kind of the 3 upper echelon kind of like Legacy decks besides combo decks, of course.
Yeah.
So if you're not playing a combo deck, you're probably playing one of those 3 decks because, they're not really a dog to anything. Of course, you can, argue that Elves is good against Rug Delver because it just has a critical mass of creatures. Or you can argue that combo decks are a little bit better against the Bug decks because they, some of them that play Blood Moon, especially we've seen on camera, Blood Moon comes out and then the Bug decks like, oh, can't cast any more spells for the rest of the game.
Yep.
So you have that issue as well. So Rug Delver's up there in one of the consistent decks, and it's going to be there, for the foreseeable future. If you remember back in old Legacy, talking about MTG The Source back in the day, this kind of stuff, you'll see decks like Canadian Threshold, which is pretty much Rug Delver, just the new version. It had Nimble Mongoose, it had Tarmogoyf, and it had all these fetch lands and cantrips. It played Portent back in the day, which is another Brainstorm effect, or Ponder effect, rather.
Good old Portent.
Yeah, so I mean, these decks, that deck's like 8 years old, so it's not like anything's really changed. Legacy doesn't really drastically change. It just adds new cards when they come out, shift here or there. pretty much you see the same decks that you did back then. I mean, how old is Goblins in Legacy? That's just one of the ancient decks.
Oh, the best deck, so
yeah,
nothing
definitely.
needs to change from the best deck.
Yeah, I guess so. I agree. Yeah, Krenko, that guy's pretty sweet.
He is sweet, actually.
Definitely better than the old Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker.
Well, never played that card because I like my cards to be good.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Kiki Jiki is very optimistic, to say the least. The Flooded Strand going to start the thing off here for Bigger. Is going to get a Tropical Island, so we'll probably see Nimble Mongoose, but we could see some Cantrippin or perhaps a Delver.
Yeah, the last time I think Goblins was very good was
Yesterday?
I'd say Standard when it was legal. Remember Patriarch's Bidding? That was a sweet
That's
deck.
the last time I think Goblins was good?
Yeah.
You disgust me. Nimble Mongoose to start.
Patriarch's Bidding was sweet. You had Zombie Bidding, Goblin Bidding.
You did. Merfolk bidding.
Yeah, Wizard Bidding.
Yep. You could bid it all.
Yeah. I remember you could name your Exalted Angels I used to get them back in response to that. That'd be
Wow,
pretty good.
look at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see all the angles.
Yeah, it's not a one-way reanimate here.
That's true.
The whole world gets to
Actually,
do
it felt one way a lot of the time.
Yeah, it did, yeah. Sharpshooter is a pretty good card. I remember that.
Underground Sea. The card has searched out here for Fain. Let's see if he can do a little more action this game. Hopefully. We have a Brainstorm to start things off with. So hit 1, Brainstorm. 2, Mystery card. 3, Mystery card. He's going to roll up his sleeves and get to work.
Yep.
He's got more things to do this game, hopefully, than the last one. We saw a bunch of Cabal therapies, Force of Will, and some mana issues in the last game, which, to be fair, Rug Delver kind of makes that happen.
Yeah, it's not an accident at all. It's definitely can happen in the blink of an eye. 1 minute you're going to fetch, they stifle it, untap Wasteland you, and you just lose everything. So, especially a deck like Loam where it doesn't have any basics. But usually, as long as you have a land in hand, you can usually survive it by just untapping and then loaming the next turn. I wonder if the turn after he got Wasteland, if he didn't have life from the loam that he could have used instead of playing the Deathrite Shaman.
You see here, Cabal Therapy going to show us at home a Ponder, a Wasteland, a Brainstorm, a Spell Pierce, and a Tarmogoyf. From that Lightning Bolt, that's going to go to the graveyard, because that's what was named with the Deathrite Shaman.
Oh, yeah, the therapy, yep.
Yep, but a Lightning Bolt off the top here from Bigger says that doesn't really matter too much. Bigger's
Had it the whole time.
Bigger's going to start off with the Brainstorm here.
I like the Brainstorm first because, he has a Wasteland as other land, and he really wants to be able to bolt that Deathrite Shaman right off the bat.
You do want to get that stupid, dumb creature off the board. Nothing personal, Deathrite Shaman.
Right, yeah.
Big fan of yours.
Yeah, he's definitely a very powerful card. And
really sweet.
Once you see cards like this in Standard printed, I definitely am an advocate of picking as many as you can up because it's a guaranteed price hike. You know it's going to be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
That, Abrupt Decay, and cards of that nature, so...
Blue Delta getting sacrificed. Bigger's going to go down at 18. Going to search out a Volcanic Island, of course. Probably going to fire up a Lightning Bolt to take care of that Deathrite Shaman.
Yep, and he has a
Wouldn't be much
Daze
of a
to back it
surprise.
up as well.
Yep.
So Dustin's in pretty good shape this game, as if he, pretty similar to the last game, except I think his cards are a little bit better this time around.
Yeah, I think they are too. And he's almost to Threshold, so he's got 5 cards in his graveyard already. So we can see Threshold as soon as turn 3 for that Nimble Mongoose. There's a Grove of the Burn Willows. So, the funny thing here is that, again, we're working with perfect information on exactly what Fain's deck can do, while Bigger's is not working with that information. It's here's a young Pyromancer. See if that's going to resolve.
And this is a huge problem for Dustin because, these Nimble Mongooses and Tarmogoyfs, they don't have trample. So you're pretty much at, the will of whatever that young Pyromancer can do. They can just chump block you all day. You really can't do much about it. So I think Dustin needs a Fire and Ice, his one copy there, to really put the pressure back on him.
Cabal Therapy, going to sacrifice the token, make another token. So, just going to leave the board state as is. We'll see if this is going to resolve. Tarmogoyf to the bin. See the hand of Daze, Ponder, and Spell Pierce.
I wonder if you could have viewed a Daze deck, because he saw Dustin's hand earlier, Kinny did. So I would probably trade the Daze for that Tarmogoyf to have it back.
I would have a little bit of interest in trading the Daze there.
Just because, it's not, the Daze is getting worse and worse by the turn.
Ponder here for Biggers to start his turn. That's also going to be the 7th card in the graveyard. So Mongoose, it's going to be all grown up.
Yep.
Real tough guy.
Real trailblazer here. The big problem, again, you can just block. I don't even know. Obviously, Kinny will not double block here because Young Pyromancer is more valuable than anything that Dustin can put on the board at this point. He's going to have to win with Delver of Secrets this game as well because I think we're past the mana denial stage.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
So it's all about insectile aberrations here.
See a hand here for Biggers. He's going to draw a card off of Ponder. Yeah, and it looks like he saw the second card down, so accidental. Probably going to just shuffle the deck here as soon as that's done. Or maybe they'll just shuffle it again altogether. But, you know, the card that he did draw was Misty Rainforest. They're going to put it back on top, and the judge will do what the judge does and make sure everything's kosher. But you see Bigger's hand right now, double days and a Spell Pierce, so not the best hand at all.
Yeah, and I think he really wanted that land, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential that he wanted that land. I don't think that land actually does a ton. I mean, it turns his Dazes on, but I don't think Daze is very good in this situation.
Yep.
So I don't think it's a really big deal. Obviously, no malicious intent here. I think we've all done this with a Ponder or Brainstorm or Cantrip type effect. So probably just make him shuffle the deck, draw a mystery card here, and then we will proceed with the turn.
Yeah. And cannot be happy. This young Pyromancer is making me a little nervous up here. So.
Oh, young Peasy?
Yeah, he's definitely he's my favorite card from the base set. I think he's a phenomenal card. I was hoping he would be in the same standard as Talron and free mana cards. That'd been really sweet, but
or really not sweet.
You don't think that'd be sweet?
No.
Oh, I think it'd be pretty sweet. And I would have played some blue-red control deck. It'd been real fun. So, but we're back to. Yep, if you want to play this guy, we got to go to the old formats to be real effective.
Force of Will, the card that was drawn. In comes the Noble Mongoose. A chump block immediately with the elemental token. As Fain's going to untap, he's going to take a draw step. We'll see what he can do on this turn, because this is kind of the big turn, right? Now he's got his mana and his young Pyromancer. It's showtime. Show us what you can do.
Yep, and he'll have his opponent gain a life here. See another young Pyromancer.
Will that resolve? We know that there's a Force of Will over there from Biggers.
I think you have to force this. I don't think you can win with two young Pyromancers.
Yeah, not unless he peels a Fire Ice off the top. Now there is a Force of Will removing Daze, so Biggers is going to take one. He's going to go down to 19. Been gaining life off of that Grove of the Burn Willows, of course.
Yeah, and he only has a Therapy left and mystery cards, so.
So there is a Cabal Therapy, and he should know some of the cards here. Spell Pierce going to take care of that, so Biggers is left with just a Daze, which is a mystery card. That's the only one that he does not know about.
Yeah.
Does Fain. And Young Pyromancer, tough guy, coming on into the red zone.
What do you think about not jump blocking here and just building up some tokens?
I like building up some tokens. He's sitting at 18. I think he can actually afford to build an army.
Yeah.
He's really trying to keep his life total pretty high. I'm not sure what that accomplishes at this stage in the game. I would like to actually build an army and make it so that Nimble Mongoose is actually on the defensive.
Yeah, and definitely even being able to triple block and kill it too. But he's still chump blocking. I think his last card is Force of Will. I think Kinny has a Force of Will. You can pay for it the hard way too.
Fifth land in play. Nimble Mongoose is going to come across here, so Fain's going to go down to 15. You see you see Biggers has drawn a Delver's Secrets going with his Force of Will Daze.
Oh, maybe he doesn't have a Force of Will in his hand. What's that last card?
I think that's the new one. That was GT that was drawn off the top. Maybe? I could be wrong about that, and I am. It's like a Gataxian Probe.
I'm not sure what that. I guess he's holding a land.
Yeah, it's probably just a land. Yeah. Gataxian Probe is going to get countered. Wow.
Force of Will, the Gataxian Probe.
No, so he just shows it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
he just shows that. I was like, there's no way he's forcing this,
yeah.
Right? He puts his hand up to show him the two cards of Force of Will. Now here's Cabal Therapy. Sacrifice a token. Get my token back. Says, well, I'm going to name Force of Will, or you're going to cast Force of Will. Your choice.
Did he forget the trigger from the...
He sacked the token and then...
Sack token. Oh, gotcha,
so he's
gotcha.
fine. 2 mana. This is... an Abrupt Decay, so bye-bye Delver's Secrets, into play another Elemental token, and across comes Young Pyromancer. Bigger's going to go down to 14.
Young Pyromancer fueling the army here. And I wish he had a few more tokens in play because this would be over, and he's still chump blocking, so at this point maybe he's all in on the chump block mode here.
Yeah, I don't think much has changed. He's been pretty consistent in his action, so he's been chump blocking early and often. As you see, Fain is just going to play another Growth of the Burn Willows and pass a turn back. Scalding Tarn comes in, and now the Mongoose is on defense. Let's see what we get here. Going to start with the Gataxian Probe. Token going to come into play. Double Daze is the grip there for Bigger, so nothing
he's drawn so many dazes, and this is what Rug Delver. It's almost like it's almost a religion to board out daze after game one when they're on the draw, especially. Because once they know it's there, the jig is up. 1, 2 on the draw, daze is real bad.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like one of those where you just want to cut them all out of your deck.
It's crazy how much better daze is on the play as opposed to the draw.
Yeah, it's almost makes it how it's a legacy staple now in a lot of these aggressive decks. On the draw, it's almost, I don't want to say unplayable, but much, much worse.
Fain sacrificing a bunch of lands, and now he's going to cast Liliana of the Veil. Double Daze lets Fain know from the Gataxian Probe that this is certainly going to resolve.
Right.
And so that's going to be able to take care of that Nimble Mongoose, which can't be targeted by anything, but Liliana can make you sacrifice it.
Liliana, one of the best planeswalkers in Legacy. You'll see, obviously, Jace the Mind Sculptor is numero uno. I think Liliana might be second. A lot of people will say maybe Elspeth is up there somewhere.
I think Liliana's second.
I think Liliana's easily
I'm with
second.
you on that one.
Just turn 2 on the play with the Deathrise Shaman, playing Liliana. That's just lights out. I mean, you could be one of those guys that play Ashiok instead of Liliana.
I don't know anyone who does that.
Yeah, I want you to follow me on Twitter there. You'll see a few people told me how good it is. I'm like, just play Liliana, you goofball.
Yeah.
Just come on. Don't stop clowning around.
Brainstorm doesn't find much action. Spell Pierce added to the hand, lands are put back, and we'll see a fetch here momentarily here from Biggers, probably on Fain's end step. But right now you're going to get a Brainstorm, an elemental token to be put into play off of Young Pyromancer. And now Fain's deck is doing what it does. And this is part of the reason, Shaheen, that we saw Cabal Therapy naming Lightning Bolt, both in the previous game and during this one. Yeah,
there's only one scary card. And obviously you saw Fire and Ice, but Kinny knows that Fire and Ice is probably going to be a fringy, like 1 or 2 of. It's definitely not going to be the 4 of staple that Lightning Bolt is.
Brainstorm's going to resolve. Now another Young Pyromancer is going to come into play. You see a couple more mana added to the mana pool. What he's going to want to do, Life in the Loam, trigger. And this makes it so he's going to be able to consistently make elementals. The goal here, of course, is now just to get his hand empty so that Liliana Veil can always keep ticking up.
And he can infinitely, per turn, making tokens there, as long as he wants to, replacing his draw step with getting Life in the Loam. So at this point, yeah, don't think he's double dazing here. Which is not going to really accomplish too much. I think Dustin knows.
I think he's conceding the game. That's exactly what Biggers is going to do. So Kenny Fain's going to even this one up against Dustin Biggers. We're going to game 3 here between Pyro Loam and Rug Delver. See if either player goes back to the sideboard. Fain shuffling up pretty quick here. Again, Kenny Fain, you guys might be familiar with the face from yesterday because he made top 8 yesterday.
He did.
He's looking to do a little back-to-back action. Wasn't able to win. That goes to the Green Red Devotion player. Yeah,
he came by the booth, and you weren't here yet, but he was mentioning how he enjoyed us joking around about his draft deck he was playing yesterday. Yep. Because a lot of these Blue Devotion cards are barely good and limited, let alone in constructed play. So, hey, but you know what? You got to do what you got to do if you want to devote to your god. You got to make it a guy, make it a creature.
Some people on Twitter wondering if I've considered splashing blue into my Legacy Goblins deck for Omen Speaker. Your thoughts?
I think Omen Speaker might be better than 50% of the Goblins in a vacuum.
Wow.
I mean, if you put them by themselves, like Skirk Prospector, I'd rather have an Omen Speaker, right? No. Sharpshooter doesn't even untap ever. Just stays there tapped. I'm saying by itself. Matron doesn't really get anything unless you're playing other Goblins. Omen Speaker by itself does a good amount. For those who can't see, Cedric is not agreeing with me. With
I can't look at him right now. I can't do it. Disrespectful.
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
What that is.
I'm kidding. We all know that Omen Speaker is garbage and Goblins are cool. I've lost many a day to Goblins. Like I said, especially when they were in Standard, they were just a force to be reckoned with. Even when Patriarch's Bidding wasn't around, it was mono red Goblins. I remember playing in regionals where the only way to beat that deck was Worship and Troll Aesthetic combined together. And that's what I had to do. You know, you got to do what you got to do.
Got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you even got to play Omen Speaker. Is
that
true? No, I don't think you agree.
No, that's not true.
I don't think you agree with me there.
Yeah, there's some days in life where I kind of want to play it because my eyes blur a little bit and it says draw a card on it, but it says scry 2. And for all the kooks out there that think scrying 1 is the equivalent of half a card, it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
No, it's just not. So you're saying that you would pay a hefty price for a Wall of Omens? What? Let me ask you this. How much would you pay for a blue Wall of Omens?
Wow. I would not ask for another counter spell again.
Full salary for the year?
Oh, you mean actual money?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, $0. No,
what? Excuse me?
No way, yeah.
You lack dedication.
Have you seen me? And whenever I top 8 one of these tournaments, I'm the first one to sign the slip to split top 8. Oh, I have a 90% matchup. Split top 8.
Yep. Take it and run.
Exactly. Except for poor Ross Merriam when he was playing Elves during the Brainstorm.
Yes.
I saw that matchup. I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I can't.
Elves against Adam Prozac playing Storm.
Yeah.
But we know how that ended up. Maybe that's why Adam left to go to WotC.
Yeah, he's like, I had enough.
Really can't take it. I wouldn't be able to take it losing to Ross either. The beard, the Elves deck. Ugh.
You're playing Storm, and the only thing you lose to is being therapied like over and over and over.
Yeah.
Which he was.
But
then I saw my matchup. I'm like, should I split money with the guy playing creatures that died in my Jite, my Sword of Plowshares, my Snapcaster Mages, Force of Wills, Perish, and Supreme Verdict deck?
Yes.
No, I couldn't do it.
All right.
Couldn't do it. I apologize to Ross if he's listening, but that's the.
I don't know why you would do that.
Because I was ready to split.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wait, what are you playing? Nah, I can't do it. Can't do it.
Alrighty, here we go. Game number 3. Dustin Biggers, Kenny Fain. Rug Delver going to be on the play for Game 3, which is, of course, exactly where it wants to be, so it can get its mana disruption tools online. But no 1-drop, which is actually a pretty big deal here. The deck is wildly different when it has a Delver or a Nimble Mongoose on turn 1 as opposed to when it doesn't.
Yeah, especially Delver, because Kenny really doesn't have much interaction for Delver. He has Punishing Fire, of course, but besides that, he is taking 3 to the head pretty much every time.
If you take a look here at Bigger's hand, it's not the best hand I've ever seen. You've got Double Force, Double Stifle, a Tarmogoyf, and then a Lightning Bolt. And you see right now he's asking, all right, Mox Diamond, can I stifle that?
You can. You stifle Chrome Mox. Can you stifle Mox Diamond? I think
That's the question.
No, you can't.
Cannot,
As
yeah.
it comes into play.
Yeah, it's an as it comes into play. That's
Yeah.
something like a Meddling Mage, which you can't stifle either, because it doesn't actually use the stack. Now, what he can stifle, of course, is that Scalding Tarn.
Yep.
So Biggers is just
Oh,
going
wow.
to...
That's good. That's probably the best draw possible.
Yeah, I mean, a land is
Yeah.
certainly good here. He's going to... he's not going to play anything. He's going to
No.
keep Stifles available.
I like the no play here.
You do see Mox Diamond on the screen. Now there's a Grove of the Burn Willows. In comes Dark Confidant. Bet you weren't expecting that.
No, it's definitely it's kind of a staple in loam decks in general, because most of the cards you flip are lands and you don't take a lot of damage. So I've seen it back in the day when you see like the other variations of loam, but not this one. I didn't see it coming. I guess he likes his 2/1s. You know, Young
does.
Pyromancers, his Dark
He does.
Confidant, so he wants to jam them all together.
You know what takes care of 2/1s?
Squire.
Goblin Sharpshooter.
Oh,
Bang.
sorry. Yeah, you're right. It does. It does. And it untaps every time.
Shoot him down.
I'm afraid of Goblin Sharpshooter.
Shouldn't be. Card's really not good. Lightning Bolt is going to take care of that. Sacrifice? I don't think so. My favorite thing of the Rug Delver players when they go sacrifice the land, the Rug Delver player can't grab their fetch fast enough. No, stifle it,
No. 1 mana Stone Rain.
No. Don't even think about it.
Yeah. I mean, this is where Dustin gets his excitement from Magic.
Gets his value.
Yeah.
Stifle,
One day
get that outta
when
here.
someone tries to wasteland me or stuff me, I wanted to Fairy's Response them.
Ooh.
One day. And if you guys don't know what that means or that card is, it's a 2-mana instant. When something just targets one of your lands, you can counter this targeted ability or spell or whatever it is, destroy that target, and you draw 2 cards.
That's right.
All in one card.
That's right. Great card.
It is.
Tarmogoyf, another good card. Also 2 mana.
2 mana.
I
Probably
don't know if it's better than Fairy's Response.
probably not
but-
better than Fairy's Response, but it's close.
So that thing is into play. We'll get our Tarmogoyf die out there for you guys so we can see exactly how big that is. Or we could just leave it off to the side because Abrupt Decay is going to take care of that.
Exactly. Now, Tarmogoyf is actually smaller than Omen Speaker when it starts off. So, I mean, when you do
In a vacuum.
in a vacuum.
In a vacuum, yeah. In a vacuum, Omen Speaker is better than Tarmogoyf. Here's a brainstorm from Biggers. So he's going to get 3 cards deeper. Hopefully he'll be able to find a fetch land to make it a perfect brainstorm. You see a Goyf, a Ponder, a Force of Will added to a hand that already has 2 Force of Wills and a Stifle.
Yeah, his hand is very spicy. It might be time for Tarmogoyf here.
I think it's time for Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, definitely. The Stifle is at this point. I'd leave Stifle in my hand because I kind of want to pitch that card to do Force of Will if I have to. Because at this point, Stifle is getting a little bit weaker.
All right, 2 cards placed back. Tarmogoyf in the house. It's Dustin's first time to play with the Tarmogoyf die. It's fun.
Yeah,
I do this sometimes.
I've played against it a few times.
3/4 in the house.
Yep, pretty good creature. Arguably one of the best.
How about a Brainstorm? Arguably the best instant in Legacy. 1. And that's a Mox Diamond. 2. And 3. So let's see exactly what Fain's going to put back here. Again, ways for him to take care of Tarmogoyf. Actually a little bit difficult for his deck. However, you saw the Abrupt Decay. That's just a 1 from the sideboard. You're not going to find any of those in the main deck. So he's got some work to do to get a 3/4 off of the table. He can make some jump blockers with a Young Pyromancer, obviously. Deathrite Shaman can control to a certain extent. And then we know he got that one Lily on the Veil that he brought in.
Oh, man, he didn't draw a land off that Brainstorm.
That's not good.
So he's been locked. If Dustin draws a Wasteland at any point in this game,
Bum bum.
it's pretty much going to be lights out here.
Gorilla Radio.
Yes. Turn that. Yeah.
Yep.
You know the rest.
Turn it up.
Yeah.
Just turn it up.
Let's turn it up.
Scalding Tarn, Force of Will, and a Lightning Bolt are the 3 cards that he is looking at from Ponder is bigger. See if he wants to keep these or put them back. Because I'm with you. I believe he's probably searching for a Wasteland, but he's going to keep Lightning Bolt and serve in with his 4/5.
Here it
The
comes.
one thing he does have, of course, is he's got a lot of counter magic in his hand.
Right. He's definitely ready for anything Kenny can throw at him here, including a Young Pyromancer if he has one of those. Speaking of music, I heard, Setter, you're a big 2 Chainz fan. Is that correct?
That is could not be more false.
Okay.
It's like a taxiing probe is going to show up here. We've got 2 Force of Wills to Stifle and a Lightning Bolt. Those are the cards from the probe. Kenny going to take 2 damage to do that. And as you mentioned, he did Brainstorm lock himself.
Yeah.
So this card that he's going to draw, he already knew about from the Brainstorm. So now he is past the Brainstorm lock.
Right.
He does draw a Mox Diamond, but doesn't have a land for that.
Yeah, probably the worst possible card with no land. Doesn't do a whole heck of a lot.
Well, that is a land in
That's
theory.
a good card. Definitely a good card. And I think you counter this here.
I think you counter it too.
Yeah, because right now you're just trying to kill your opponent with this Tarmogoyf. If you force this and then force it again next turn with that Lightning Bolt, that's lethal damage. And he has a Stifle on top of his library, so Dustin has a second blue card.
Yep.
So he'll be able to force, untap, we force it again, and then the Lightning Bolt will be lethal damage. Oh, yep, and he removes a Stifle, thank goodness. So the next turn we'll be able to force again. I think there's a blue card on top. I might be wrong, we'll see when he lifts his hand up. And he does, he has force, force. So dredging this back. Dustin is going to show him Force of Will.
Yeah, I think it's time for another force here. You're going to force the first one, you're going to definitely force the second one.
Right. And it actually will not be full lethal here, but pretty much if Kenny spends his whole turn below me again the next turn, he's dead enough.
Yeah, it's basically lethal. So Dustin's going to untap here and take a draw step. There's a Scalding Tarn off the top. Going to put that into play. Tarmogoyf coming across for 4. Put Fain down to 5. Again, we know he's got the Lightning Bolt in the hand. Here's a Life from the Loam Dredge again. As you mentioned, yeah, if he's casting Loam again, this is obviously a great spot to be in for Biggers. So now here is Loam. That's going to happen. So 1, 2, and 3, getting Wasteland back among those lands. We know he's got a Mox Diamond in his hand that he can play. So he can generate 2 mana this turn. The question is the 2 mana he generates going to be enough?
Right. If it's Young Pyromancer and he has a free spell, that'd be pretty good here.
2 mana.
It is Young
Pyro.
Pyromancer.
You need a free one. We need a freebie.
Nope.
Pass. Bolt it.
And that's a creature.
That is a creature.
Wait, he already has a creature.
Yeah, he's got Tarmogoyf already down in the bin. So down to 1 goes Fain. So any Lightning Bolts, Fire Ice, Burn Spells will be lethal.
Yep. And it's time for Kenny to draw off the top, see what he can get here.
Let's see what it is. He's going to need a creature to block with. He's going to need a Young Pyromancer, maybe make some people. He's going to have, his deck looks like it has some trouble with the Resolve Tarmogoyf. Scary spot to be in. 3 mana. That is an Ensnaring Bridge. Okay.
That is big game.
Yes, it is. It's a 1-of in his sideboard. I wasn't sure if he's going to bring it in or not. So he's able to empty his hand. Now, you know, here's the thing. I've done a lot of coverage in this here booth. Not a lot with you, but I've done a lot in my life.
Yeah, you're a veteran.
And the Delver player, he's only got 2 Lightning Bolts left. And I've never, ever seen them have difficulty finding the third one to kill them. Somehow, some way, they are always like, well, I just brainstorm once, boom, there it is, you're dead.
Yeah, there it is. And he actually played the Volcanic Island. I don't like playing that out because if you draw a brainstorm, you get to shuffle both of his
You want it
lands
to be
back.
the best brainstorm that it can be.
Yeah.
Additionally, I think you just want to hold a card like that because you can get Wasteland locked here. Now, don't get me wrong. It's going to take a long time for a Wasteland lock to be established here, but it can happen.
It can, yeah. What's going to happen is the Intuition is actually the 1-card combo in the deck where he gets to get both of his land combo pieces. One will go to his hand, one will go to the graveyard, and they get Life from the Loam to get it back. So that's not going to do anything here because of the Ensnaring Bridge. He pretty much locked himself out of being able to attack with his Dark Depths token. So it looks like he's going to get the 3 Deathrite Shaman and start climbing that life total up.
That's kind of interesting, too, because you know, the amount of time that it takes Deathrite Shaman to actually get his life total above 5 to dodge a Lightning Bolt, it may have been enough time to just get Dark Depths, get Thespian Sage, and maybe have an answer to the Ensnaring Bridge to kill his opponent.
Yeah, I don't know what answers he might have brought in for his own bridge. Maybe his plan now is to kick back and Deathrite Shaman his way to victory.
Yeah, there's the potential, for gain a bunch of life and then burn you out.
Oh.
This is typically, of course, how it works, Shaheen. There are only 2 Lightning Bolts left in the deck. No brainstorming or pondering necessary.
No.
And a Lightning Bolt off the top there from Dustin Biggers. Gonna get the job done over Kenny Fain. Rug Delver moves on to 3-0. Pyro Loam from Kenny Fain takes its first loss. And I'm telling you, man, I do this a lot. That's not the first time I've seen that happen. I promise you.
It won't be the last.
It will not be the last. Rug Delver, the bad guy, the boogeyman, moves on to 3-0.
I mean, isn't that why we play these red decks, or people play these red decks, just for those moments?
You know, it doesn't feel like that deck has 4 Lightning Bolts. I'll tell you right now. It feels like they have 8 or 10.
Well, in Legacy, I'm glad you brought that up. When you're playing a deck with 4 Brainstorm, 4 Ponder, you are playing 8 or 9 Lightning Bolts.
Yeah.
You're able to dig them so much. You know what